Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Welcome to our World Cup watch-alongs. It's Mexico against South Africa. Look at the Azteca. Look at it. It's like being in 1986. How can you not be excited by the colours, the vibrancy, the stadia? It's absolutely incredible. What a stadium. This should be where the World Cup final is being held. It has so much history. Brazil won here in 1970. Argentina, the hand of God. It takes you back 40 years. It's just, we're living history in the present. It's amazing. You couldn't get a better stadium, and it's absolutely packed to open a World Cup. It has so much nostalgia. It has so much atmosphere. It's incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. Mexico against South Africa. Here we are. Hope you're all ready. Very, very excited to be with you all today. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in as well. We've got little tables there for you as well on our screen. But before we get into everything, I'm excited to tell you that we are sponsored by BOYLE Sports on the show today. The World Cup's underway and the first game of the tournament. I've put together a bet builder with our partner BOYLE Sports. A bet builder, basically one bet made up of a few things that are going to happen in the game. I'm going to talk through the players to watch and everything in a moment. It's only a guide, 8 o'clock kickoffs in America, by the way. If you know anything about NFL, it's only a guide, the kickoff time. It could be 10 minutes away. Basically, the bet builder, though, a few things that can happen in the game. It could be goals scored, cards given, who's going to score, etc. I'll explain mine here. So I've got, as part of my bet builder, I've got Mexico to win, both teams to score, over 3.5 goals in the game, Raul Jimenez to score, and over 4.5 corners. So for my bet to come in, I've got to get everything in my bet builder. Mexico to win, both teams to score, over 3.5 goals, Raul Jimenez to score, and over 4.5 corners. I'm quite confident about this. I was crap at this last season on United Stand, but I'm quite confident in the World Cup. It's going to make it more interesting, and I think I'm going to be right. So give it a go yourself. What do you think of mine? Let me know in the comments. Now, the team at BOYLE Sports have also got a little World Cup teaser for you as well that we're going to do in every sponsored game. I'm going to ask you a couple of cheeky World Cup questions. It's just fun. No prizes given. Who scored the first goal when the two Mexico-South Africa played each other in the World Cup opener back in 2010? Because this has been a World Cup opener before in South Africa. Keep hold of your answer, and I'll tell you the answer in a moment. And that's not all. During this tournament, if you place an outright bet of 20 euros or pounds or more on a team to win the tournament, every time that team wins a game, you'll get a free £5/euro bet. So every game, if you bet £20 on Mexico to win the World Cup and they win this game, then you get an extra £3 every single time. So so basically, if I put an outright bet on England to win it, every time they win a game, I get a £5 free bet as well. So there we go. But you've got to put a bet of 20 on. Really good offer. Make sure you put your loyalty and patriotism aside. Make your picks with clarity of thought. This tournament, BOYLE Sports says bet with your head, not with your heart. Don't let your emotions muddy the waters. As always, it's 18 plus, UK and Ireland only. Please bet responsibly. Terms and conditions are in the description and via the QR code on the screen. Big shout out to BOYLE Sports. We'll keep an eye on my bet builder through in the first half. Another layer of interest in the game. But let's look at the team news. I'm excited to see, I've not looked at the team news yet. I'm excited to see if he's starting for, no, he's not. He's on the bench. Mora, 19. He's 17 years of age, number 19 for Mexico. He is on the bench. And also on the bench, I think, is the, Mofo Keng for South Africa. So my two players to watch are actually on the bench. Mofo Keng of South Africa, who's a flair player, I think he's 22, and Mora, who's 17, attacking midfielder for Mexico. So keep an eye on those two. They are players to keep an eye on, but they're both on the bench. Players you might know from South Africa, Lyle Foster, who plays for Burnley. Mokino, number 4, really energetic player, arguably their best player, box to box, very, very good player. As for Mexico, Montes, the number 3 centre-back, a bit of a Harry Maguire in the air, very, very good. Lira, number 6, really, really, a bit like Mokino, number 4 for South Africa, the heart of the team. Raul Jimenez up front as well. And I don't think, is Alvarez playing? Of West Ham? I was trying to see. I don't think he's even on the bench. Oh no, Edison Alvarez is on the bench for West Ham. He's had a few injury problems. He'd normally be a starter, to be fair, but he's not starting. Right, share the video, everybody. Let's see if we can get up to 10,000 watching tonight. You're all very, very welcome, of course. The World Cup, get used to this. The games will not start at 8 o'clock. Well, or whatever. It's if you are a veteran of American sports, which I am with the NFL, their games very rarely start on time. So yeah, just a little note there. Their games will very rarely start on time. But we're excited for this. I think we will get goals. I mean, South Africa, if I'm being fair, will do very, very well to make it through the group stage. It's going to be a tough ask for them. Because you've got Czech Republic and, is it Bosnia in this group? I really should know. Tables. Yeah, Czech Republic and South Korea, sorry. Is anybody staying up to watch Czech Republic, South Korea at 3 a.m.? Let us know where you're watching from. I am not even going to pretend to you that I have any intention of watching every single game. That is not on my bingo card this year. I will catch those highlights in the morning, which I'm more than happy to do. I will be doing some 3 in the morning games, but my first one is the USA against Paraguay, which is not the early hours of Friday, it's the early hours of Saturday. So, but I'll talk you through the schedule. The fuck? Why do YouTube keep adding stuff that I don't want you to add? I just wanted the link. The technology is just advancing here. Let us know where you're watching from, everybody. You're very welcome. So we're going to kick off at about 8:05 here. Let's go. Score predictions, everybody. I'm going to go Mexico 3-1. We've got people watching from India, Botswana. Massive shout out to our South African community. A lot of them will have come over from the United Stand. I'd love them to do well for you. Huge football support, especially for Man United in South Africa. We get a lot of South Africans watching the United Stand. And I don't have a horse in this race. I genuinely don't have a horse in this race. I don't even have a horse. But look, I like the graphics on the TV as well. I'm liking this. This stadium is incredible, absolutely incredible. Please do share the video, by the way. I'm just remembering I haven't done it myself. But I think Mexico will be favourites to win this. My general feeling about the World Cup is that it will be the knockout stages will be better than the group stages. But normally in the World Cup, it's the knockout stages. The group stages have a lot more goals. 99% of the players are wearing pink boots, says Shane. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. If you want to do those, we read them all out on this channel. Nick P says, I'm 8 years old again, gazing at the scale of the Azteca, dreaming of being a football. It's magic. I'm glad. If there's one thing about this game tonight, me and Nick are back in the 80s. Which is never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. It's an incredible stadium. It's retained its mystique. I mean, this is where Maradona did the Hand of God in 1986. And it almost, even the Coca-Cola advert signs feel like it could be 1986. It's just got an immense nostalgia to it. It's an amazing stadium. I personally think they should have had the World Cup final here. Look, The MetLife, I like the MetLife, and Dallas Stadium is very good, but I think this is where they should have had the final. I think it's the best. I think it's the best football stadium in the tournament. I don't know how many games it's got. I can tell you how many games it's got, actually, if you bear with me. A few little interesting points, though, going into the game. I will give you interesting points because I think, you know, if you've tuned in on this channel before when we have live Bundesliga football, I have to know some things to bring into it. So I intend to do that with the World Cup, especially with games like this where you might not know some of the players, etc. An early free kick here for Mexico. This referee looks like the bloody Terminator. So Mexico have actually hosted the World Cup. This is the third time they've hosted the World Cup. And every time has been post-England's one time in 66. So England hosted the World Cup once in 1966 when they've won it. Mexico have hosted the World Cup 3 times since then. 1970, 1986 and 2026. I know that's with Canada and the USA, but they are still hosting it. So this is the third time that they've hosted it. Their best ever record in a World Cup is the quarterfinals. And there's something the Mexicans call, it's like the Holy Grail. I think it's called the Quinto, the 5th match. They've never won, they've never got to the 5th match. They've never won the 5th match, which is quarterfinals. So they've never gone past the quarterfinals. Although if they get to the quarterfinals this year, they'll have got to game 6 because there's an extra knockout game. Apparently Mexicans are obsessed by that. I don't know, I'm not Mexican. But they're a hard-working team, Mexico. Defensively quite solid. Goal! Oh, it's a great save. Great save by the South African keeper, Williams. It was a lovely cross by Mexico, and it was Raul Jimenez, who I've got to score in my bet builder. And I thought he was going to score. He really did put a good cross in, and it's fell to him on his left foot. He's connected with it so well. I actually thought he was going to score, but the keeper's made a really good save there. Definitely thought that was going to go in. Corner to Mexico. Keeper's there again. He's had a good start, but so have Mexico here. Cross into the back post. Keeper should have shouted to his defender there. They're a bit sketchy here, South Africa, and Mexico are pushing. Remember, also... Oh, hold on. South Africa with a breakaway. Tell you what, it's a good start, this. You're offside, mate. You've got to stay on side there. Back with the Mexican goalkeeper. Final should have been here. Proper football heritage, says Fern. Thank you very much. Watch out for Lira. He's supposed to be an animal. Yes, he is a watch-out player in their midfield for South Africa. Number 6, the holding midfielder. Be careful, he'll get linked to Man United. If he has too good a game, he'll be Man United's next midfielder. And we've all got to be... We shouldn't laugh because he's just switched the pay. Lovely. He's a good player, number 6 for Mexico. If you want a player to get into in the World Cup that nobody knows about, he is the heart and soul of that team, the number 6. He just sits there in front of the defence, makes the tackles, runs the game. Really good player. He's still only 26, actually. I was just looking at that. He's only just turned 26. Like a lot of these players, he plays in Mexico. So he's played 164 games for Cruz Azul. Keep an eye on him. I don't know that he'd be heading to the Premier League or Europe, but he's a good player. Mexico can't lost versus a guy called Sithole, bro, please, says Callie. Matt Silverladder says, you dissed my channel earlier, you're just jealous. City stands owns you. City owns United, Mrs. Silverladder, and my son Steve owns yours. I own you. Thanks, Matt Silverladder. Hugo Sanchez says, Mark, yep. Chicharito. We're talking famous Mexican former players. Hi, Mark. Andrew from South Africa. Keep up the show. I'm a long Man United fan and United stand member. Can't see South Africa going through. Yeah, but you know what? Let's talk about South Africa a moment. I spoke a little bit about Mexico there. Obviously, hosts. One thing that's worth mentioning is the altitude. One of the big things Mexico have got in their favour is, I think, all the games they play, will be in Mexico. And all the grounds in Mexico are at altitude. Now, altitude basically means height. And the higher you play, the harder it is because the air is thinner. But they'll be used to it. I think Bolivia, for years, used to qualify for World Cups because of this, because their home ground was played at altitude. So that could be big. Also, another interesting thing about Mexico, I was reading this today. Some of their players reported for training at the start of May. So they've literally been training for like 5 weeks. Not all of them, obviously, because people like Jimenez would have still been playing in the Prem, but some of their players reported for training in the first week in May. So they should be well drilled. They really should. They've also got Jimenez from AC Milan. I think he's on the bench for them. And Gutierrez, number 26, is a decent player for them. Quite a young lad as well, 22. So keep an eye out for him. With regards to South Africa, they've never made it out the group. They are in good form. They've qualified for the last 2 AFCONs and the World Cup. That is difficult when you consider some of the African teams that aren't here and don't qualify for the AFCON. Nigeria, not here, of course. Never got past the group stage. As I said, I think he's the number 6 for them, Makina. He is the glue that... Sorry, he's the number 4. Lira is the number 6 for Mexico. The number 4 for South Africa is the glue that keeps them together. But hold on. That's a goal! The first goal of the World Cup is scored, and it's a goal for Mexico. It's Quinones. I don't know if I pronounced it right. The number 16, Quinones. I don't know. But goal Mexico, 1-0. The World Cup has its first goal in the first 10 minutes. I think that's a great thing in itself. And also, it's in the Azteca. Back of the netter in the Azteca. Quinones. I've got that wrong. Quinones, maybe. Maybe it's Quinones. Keeper plays it out from the back. Terrible first touch by the defender. Oh, God. It's like watching a League One side play out from the back, isn't it? What you doing playing out from the back in the Azteca in the first 10 minutes against the hosts? I mean, it's a preventable goal. And maybe the keeper should do better as well because the shot straight at him. He made a good save from Raul Jimenez a couple of minutes ago. But this is a dream start for South Africa. They're 1-0 up here. Quinones, I'm going to call him, without any verification from you lot. Clark says there was a throw-in that went past 5 seconds and the referee didn't blow. Yes, do keep an eye on the referee in relation to the new rules, because that is going to be very interesting, not only for this World Cup, but also for the Premier League. That was a nasty tackle there on the goal scorer. I don't know whether he's booked him. Yeah, so yeah, honestly, very, very good point. They're meant to be looking at crowding out on corners. They're meant to be looking at 5-second throw-ins, like Clark says. I mean, that was quite a bad tackle there. No yellow card. Sometimes you do get strict referees. I never understood that in World Cups, where they start giving out loads of yellow cards, because I always think it's a crap game with 10 men. Altitude means height. Thanks, Professor, says Scott. You're welcome. I think it's pronounced Quinones. I'll take your word for it, Slath. Hi, Mark. Besides New York, where in the US would you visit next? Well, Tyler, I've got to go Chicago. Boston I want to go to. I'm told Seattle's nice. Was it Seattle? I've got to go LA. I have got to go LA. Who do you think wins this game? Mexico or France, says Ghost. That's a bad joke. I don't think... I think people say that about Senegal, don't they? But I don't think South Africa's got a lot of French connection. I used to wear French connection. I used to have a t-shirt that said FC UK. And people used to think it said fuck. Final should have been at Atlanta Stadium or the SoFi, says Felly. You're wrong. It should have been at the Azteca. Hi, Mark. Thank you all for your super chats, by the way. And thanks for letting us know where you're watching from. It's been a very vibrant start from Mexico. South Africa struggling a little bit here. Like I said, they've never been past the group stage. Most of the South African players do play in South Africa. They have an attacker they could bring on. Mofokeng, 21, is one to watch. He's on the bench. As I said, Makina, the number 4, is the glue that keeps the team together, but he couldn't keep them together on that goal. Passing out from the back. And Mexico with a good start. And as I say, with Mexico, they have got a corner here, and they've had a lot of chances. A lot of chances. My favourite ground in the World Cup so far. It's the only ground. No, I love the Azteca. It's one of the... Well, we had Rory on the channel earlier, didn't we? We were talking about the stadiums, and I think the Azteca with the Maracana are the 2 best stadiums in the Americas. But let me talk to you about the Azteca, because I'll tell you what games it's got. I'm just so happy it started. You know, we've been waiting for this. Right, I've gone past it here. Basically I've got a website with all the grounds, all the details, and I'm a bit of a geek. So the Azteca has only got 5 matches. Mexico, South Africa, Uzbekistan, Colombia, Czech Republic, Mexico, a round of 32 game, and a round of 16. It's not even got a quarter-final. That's criminal. I think it's massively underused. I can't believe it hasn't got a quarter-final. I don't think any of the Mexico stadiums have. Well, enjoy it while we get to see it. Favourite World Cup ball, Mark? Mine's the Jubilani. I hated it, Ian. Wasn't that the one that no one could shoot with? You're always welcome in Phoenix, says Chachi. Pick one out of taco, burritos, quesadilla, or nachos. I like burritos, Andrew, if I'm being completely honest. When will you be back playing FC 26 World Cup? I don't think I will be, Zan. I didn't massively enjoy it, if I'm being honest. I couldn't get back into it. Cheers, Mark, says Bookers. Gilberto Mora on the bench is a gem. He's just turned 17. He's attracting interest from Europe. Could be his breakout tournament. Artads, I don't disagree. He was my man to watch. Why is the scoreboard stuck on 0-0? This is a great question. I will ask our producer, who will be listening anyway. We're working on it. It's definitely 1-0 to Mexico. A bit more on Mexico. Rafael Marquez is on the coaching staff for Mexico. A little bit more on that, Fern. So Marquez used to play for Barcelona, Mexico, midfielder. He's the assistant coach. He will be the first team coach ahead of the 2030 World Cup. So he's going to take over after this. Syndicate says, start, bench, sell, Oliver Kahn, Van der Sar, Buffon. Well, I'll start Van der Sar, I'll bench Buffon, and I'll sell Oliver Kahn. Oh no, Vinny! Vinny! Hey, Vinny! Vinny! Hey, Vinny! Vinny's in the chat. Mark, here for my first shout out of the World Cup. Can't wait to spend the next 7 days with you in the community. Is that what it is? 37 days. Joe Robinson says, what's the stadium name again? Yeah, the stadium's turning into my New York, isn't it? Apologies. First yellow card there, and it is a South African player. It's Makina, the glue that keeps them together. They won't want him on a yellow card because he is their player. I think he's a little bit unlucky there. Wasn't as bad as the other tackle made a couple of minutes ago, but maybe the referee's saying, I'm going to get my yellow card out now. We've got the scoreline right. 1-0. Yay. Are you going to do any 3 a.m. games? I'll go through all the games I'm going to do in a minute, mods. I'm not going to go through the whole tournament because we have got some watch-alongs from the studio in Manchester, as always. But I'll give you the next 4 days of watch-alongs so you can know when to tune in because, you know, I know what it's like. I was watching ITV at 6 o'clock, actually, because the opening ceremony was on, and I watched the first 5 minutes with Jimenez and Righty and Kino, and in the amazing... I've actually messaged Gary saying, when am I getting invited to go and sit on there? I can't believe it. I want to be there. But, yeah, there's a community feeling to a World Cup. You're either in it or you're not. And I think we're definitely in it, aren't we? We've got over 10,000 watching. Keep sharing the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got loads of watch-alongs, loads of content, and we're on the road to 1.5 million, which we could hit during this World Cup as well. So get involved with That's Football. You're very welcome. If you are new, wherever you are in the world, it's a great community, whoever you support. And, you know, we always say that about club teams, but whoever you support, national teams, you're very welcome. 1-0 here. Mexico, South Africa. I mean, what I would say as well is not dissimilar to the Bundesliga. There is a good flow to the game. It doesn't feel like a slow game of football, does it? I know we've become accustomed to that in the Premier League, but there's a good pace to the game. Villain says, up the Villa from Alton, Solihull. I used to live in Alton, Solihull. Used to get the train into Birmingham every day from Alton Station. Underrated UK bands from the 80s, says Rib. I mean, I was a very young kid in the 80s. He's going to shoot! He's feeling confident, isn't he? The goal scorer there. About 30 yards out, spins, takes a look and says, oh, we'll have a shot. It wasn't bad. Keeper had it covered, but good power, good trajectory, just off target. He's looking... what can we tell you about him, actually? Quinones. I'm going to call him Quinones. That is your name now. Julian Quinones. He's 29. Born in Colombia, funnily enough. And he's currently playing in the Saudi League for Al-Qadisiyah. Yeah, so he's not young. How are you doing on your bet builder? Well, I'll tell you how I'm doing on my bet builder. We're well into the game and a good time to check in on my bet builder with BOYLE Sports. We have Mexico to win, which they are at the moment. Both teams to score, which I don't have that. Over 3.5 goals, not there yet. Raul Jimenez to score, no, but he nearly did. And over 4.5 corners. I think we've had a couple of corners, so I'm doing all right at the moment. Don't forget, during the tournament, I'm going to be testing your World Cup knowledge as well for each sponsored game by BOYLE Sports. I'm asking some cheeky sports questions. The first question I asked was who scored the first goal when these two countries played each other in the South African World Cup opener in 2010. Your second question is, South Africa topped their qualifying group to reach their first World Cup since 2010, but they nearly threw it away. Why did FIFA initially strip them of a qualifying victory against Lesotho? I'll give the answers at half-time and full-time. No prizes, it's just for fun. And remember, during the tournament, if you place an outright bet of £20 or euros for a team to win the tournament, every time that team wins, you get a free £5 bet. So if you bet France £20 to win the tournament, every game they win in the tournament, you get a £5 free bet. So they could win three or four games. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, 18 plus, UK and Ireland only. Please bet responsibly. Terms and conditions are in the description and on the screen. Vamos Mexico, says 95 Trace. It's coming home, says Mark Holder. Thank you very much for that as well. Talking of stadiums, I went to watch Take That. This is an interesting one. You don't get this on ITV or the BBC. So I went to watch Take That at the Coventry Stadium last Friday. And obviously most people watching Take That stereotypically were female. So when I went to go to the toilet, the female toilets, they were queuing. The male toilets, they weren't. So Cross, he wants a handball, but it wasn't in the box, mate. Cross came in from South Africa. He wanted a handball, but it wasn't in the box. He could have had a free kick, but I felt like he was appealing for a penalty. And there is a free kick to South Africa there. He caught him late. And he's going to give a yellow card for it as well. Gutierrez, the young attacker, number 26. He's just been booked there for a foul on, I think it was on Makina, wasn't it? Yeah, the number 4. We'll see what happens with this free kick. Snoopy Tan says, remember Mexico versus Holland in 2014? What an epic battle. Mexico can be a little bit like Japan, a little bit of a dark horse team that does quite well. I've watched World Cups where Mexico have been very good, but ultimately they just can't get past the quarterfinals. See what happens with this free kick. I am going to finish the story in a minute. I'm just waiting to see what happens. Have you been watching the basketball? No. I don't even know where you'd watch it in the UK. Jay Carr says Gutierrez was born in the United States. He's really United States American. Well, nothing comes from the free kick. Yeah, anyway, so went to watch Take That at the Coventry Ricoh Stadium last Friday night. Go to the toilet. Obviously, lots of women there, so they're queuing up to the toilets. Men's toilets are pretty empty. Stood there, having a piss. Go to wash my hands, and out of one of the cubicles walks out a woman. And she sort of just washed her hands and walked out and went, I'm not queuing. And I just said, well, why should you? But then I actually thought to myself, like, if a man went into a women's toilet because he didn't want to queue, he'd be locked up as a pervert. But good old Harriet doesn't want to queue. Oh, look at me. Girl power. I'm not queuing. I'm going into the boys' toilets because there's less. I thought, like just Keeman says, if we did that, you'd be locked up. But old Harriet walks in there and she's edgy. Oh, good old Harriet. She's had a couple of champers. I thought to myself, you know what? That is bang out of order. You're not edgy. Good old Harriet. I don't know whether she was called Harriet. She just looked like a fucking Harriet. You know, she probably went back and said to her mates, girl power. Why should I queue? I just went straight into the boys' toilets. Other way round, lads power. I didn't want to queue, so I went in the women's toilets. Can you bail me out of prison? I've been locked up for being a pervert. It's, you know, when you deep it, it's actually right, isn't it? Why is it acceptable for a woman to not queue up and walk into a men's toilet? Especially in a men's toilet where we all stand in a urinal with our trunks out. Yeah, I just thought I'd share that one because we're having a drinks break here. Don't tell Harriet she'll walk in and drink all the drinks. It's right though, isn't it? You would not be able to walk, if it was like an Oasis concert and the men's queue was massive and the women's queue was short and I went, sod this, I'm not queuing up, walk into the women's toilet, I'd be walking out in handcuffs. It's a straight red card for a guy, exactly, Arthur. But she was well chuffed, and as she walked out, her mates were waiting for a drink because I walked out after her, and she was like she was the Queen Harriet. Oh yeah, look at me. And I felt like going, you know what? I'd love you to get arrested and go down for being a pervert. There's no reason why you couldn't be offended though and go, why do you want to look at me? You know? Broth says cancelled, Bridge. No, I won't get cancelled, mate. That she should get bloody cancelled. You shouldn't be walking into a boys' toilets where we're all half naked. I mean, I don't want women to watch and think that we undress in a men's toilet. But when you go into a men's toilet, there's normally stand-up urinals, so you do have something hanging out. And I think a female bypassing their own queue to come into ours is actually quite wrong. Ochoa still playing for Mexico at 40 is incredible. I think it's like his 6th World Cup, isn't it? The drinks break's over now. Lots of people are saying I'd be fine with it. Well, I was okay with it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd had a couple of drinks. I was at a pop concert. I really didn't want to make a big thing of it. Wasn't in the mood, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not something that you could scream equality with and try it yourself. Don't try it yourself. Never do. Never do it. To be fair to her, the queues were massive, but it's not something a man could do. You'd get in trouble. These water breaks are ridiculous. The most blatant excuse to add more advertisers. Well, we've not had any more adverts on ITV. But I predict that you probably did. Let us know if you had an advert. Hopefully a great World Cup ahead. Hope you're well, says Daniel. Thank you very much. Fern says 1 Spanish-born, 1 Colombian-born and 2 USA-born. That chose to play for Mexico. I don't remember such a diverse team for Mexico before. I know, because they've got a huge populate. Mexico's a huge country, huge population, and a huge football following. So they wouldn't be short of players. Good shot there, but I mean, I want to just double check the stats here, but I get the feeling that South Africa haven't had a shot on goal. No, 0 XG. 0 XG, 0 shots, and 0 corners. And I've got both teams to score in my bet builder. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether that... I mean, look, South Africa aren't terrible. You know, you're not a bad team if you've qualified for the last 2 AFCONs and the World Cup. It's not easy to actually qualify for the World Cup. So they're not terrible, but they are struggling here. Now, is it altitude or is it a skill gap? Also, as well, remember, this is, well, I'll give you the exact figures here. This is a huge stadium. 72,000 capacity and predominantly Mexican. Did you ever get into Green Day, the band, says Rib? I like some of their songs. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. Evening, Mark. I'm rehoming a 2-year dog tomorrow. Advice, says David. Funnily enough, David, I haven't adopted many dogs in my life. And I'll leave it there. But I've had a few puppies, but I suppose it's a bit different, isn't it? Whoever that number 20 is from South Africa is not a professional footballer. Johnny Sins has got more ball control than him, says Jack. I don't know who Johnny Sins is. Who does he play for? But T. Crow says, have you ever been to Mexico, Mark? It's a beautiful country. I really do want to go to Mexico. Everyone says it's dangerous, but I don't think all of Mexico is dangerous. Patrick says, I hope you're all right. During the game between Sweden and Poland, I actually went to the women's bathroom. In my defence, I didn't know it was. That would not be a defence. Uzi says, wait till you discover gender-neutral toilets. Mate, I'm not even going to get controversial on that. If it's a gender-neutral toilet, fine. Absolutely fine. You know what you're walking into. But it wasn't a gender-neutral toilet, and she was just jumping a queue. Harriet. Thank you very much for your super chats. You don't get this on ITV. No, we're a community. We're a community. We have a conversation whilst watching the World Cup and other sports, and that's the way it should be. Corner to South Africa, their first corner. We're only 10 subscribers away from 481,000. I don't know why I'm pointing down there. It's up there. We're only 10 subscribers away from 481,000. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. At half-time, I'll talk you through our schedule for the next few days because the World Cup is up and running. It's a very big World Cup. I would say don't watch all the games. You'll burn yourself out very quickly. We're used to 32 teams. We've got 48. This is, every other World Cup has been a maximum of 32 teams. We've got an additional 16. So it is big. It is big. Sarah, our producer, has just messaged me to say men go in the women's toilets all the time at football's matches, Mark. It drives me mad. That's disgusting, Sarah. And they're playing a very bloody dangerous game because I'll tell you what, if a woman complained at a football match, there's a man in the toilets, I think they're banged to rights. I wouldn't risk it. Imagine that. UK football superstar influencer caught in women's toilet. Not going to get away with it. I tell you what, the seats where Kalina were looked nice then, didn't they? I wouldn't mind his seat. I'm not searching up Johnny Sins. I don't know who it is. I'm now suspecting I know his profession. I would narrow it down to one of two professions, and I'm not willing to say either of them. But you'd be pleased if you were Morocco here. A good start to their World Cup campaign. They'll want to top the group because... and they're in again! Oh, keeper's done well. Cross was coming across the 6-yard box. I think the keeper probably could have done a little bit better on the goal, but he has made a couple of good saves as well. It's Mexico, not Morocco. Sorry, there's a lot of countries in this World Cup. I wasn't researching Johnny Sins. I was looking at something sports related, actually. Oh, God, here we go. He's not an astronaut. He's not an astronaut, but he does like going up things, apparently. Just not ships. Let's have a look. I figured it out now without even searching. I doubt he was on Clarkson's farm. Anyway. Back to the football. Azteca was remodeled. 85,000 people here today. Is there? Is that true, Fern? Cup of tea and biscuits. Half-time performance is short-tempered. I can't even remember. I can't even remember the chords. I've got a guitar in the background though. You can just about see it. Evening, Mark. Done that from David. Good luck in rehoming your dog. Somebody in the chat just says, "Why don't we see streakers at football anymore?" Yeah, there's been a real drop off in streakers, haven't there? I mean, we never see them anyway because the cameras cut away very quickly, but they're not as regular as they used to be. To be honest, in 2026, if you took your clothes off and run on a football pitch, they'd probably send you to prison for 50 years. Oh, header. South Africa. Lyle Foster. It's a long way from goal, but it was a chance. Fern says, yes, it was remodeled recently. To be honest, it does look like it's got more than 70,000. I think it's, you know what? I do think it's a disgrace that the Azteca is not going to be used in the World Cup after the last 16. And it's only getting 5 games. I find that crazy because for me, I think it's it's only the, I'm not going to say it yet, but it feels like it's the most iconic stadium in the tournament. It's just I love the Azteca. I think it's just, it feels like it, you know, it's the 80s. To be honest with you, the USA are probably getting the priority, aren't they? I don't know why they shared it as well. And I suppose I do. It's because it's a massive World Cup, isn't it? If it was a 32 team tournament, I suspect it would have just been in the States, wouldn't it? Felly says, when you read the schedule, can you give predictions? Could do. TJ says, I swapped Mexico for Japan in a sweepstake. I'm worried I messed up. Mexico looks okay. I think Japan will be good. They did a sweepstake in Seb's class at school. And guess who we got? Spain. I said that's quite good. Have you seen the Mexico Stadium with the mountains in the background? I have. I think it's Monterrey. It's going to be, yeah, Monterrey. They've only got 4 games. So if you want to see this incredible stadium with the mountains in the background, you know, you're only going to get a chance to see it 4 times. The first time you can see it is Sweden against Tunisia on the 14th of June. Japan, Tunisia on the 20th of June. South Africa, South Korea on the 24th of June. And then it has got a game in the round of 32. But it's picturesque. There's a wide variety of stadiums, to be fair. I mean, I'm looking for, you know, like the Boston Stadium, the Patriots Stadium. I think there's some American stadiums that are going to be quite iconic in the sense that, for me, they're NFL games. No, they're NFL grounds. I'm going to talk about the schedule at half-time, Scotty. What team are you supporting second to England? As I said on the video with Rory earlier, I'm all for getting in to teams that play well. There are so many teams in this World Cup. There's bound to be 3 or 4 that are just really good to watch. KSI says, a World Cup in the sun looks beautiful to watch. I would imagine it's going to be sunny for most games, isn't it? Yeah. Thomas says, Japan won't be very good. Mitoma, Endo and Minamino injured. I don't feel like that dictates Japan not being very good, mate. I feel like you don't know much about Japan. Did you see Japan against England in March? Oh, good save by the keeper. I feel there was an offside anyway. Yeah, the cross came in. Raul Jimenez got on the end of it, but he was offside. Yeah, good call. Good save, but it was offside. James says, what's the thoughts on this idea for the offside rule? The line is only at the player's feet. Looking across the line to try and stay onside is fine. World Cup. When's Japan's first game? I feel like I should have my calendar up. Let me get my calendar up. Mexico in again. Lays it off. Oh, he's at the post. He'd have had his second goal there. And he's at the post. Lovely build-up play by Mexico. It's a bit daunting here for South Africa. It was Quinones again. And lovely little build-up play. Gutierrez puts the cross in. It gets laid off for Quinones, and he hits the foot of the post. He'd have been top scorer. Well, he would be top scorer. We've only had one goal, but he'd have been top scorer with two. Of course, we expect the golden boot to get absolutely destroyed. Because there's more games. Well, there's only one more game, I suppose. But somebody said that the golden boot record might not get broken because there's only one more game. But I said, yeah, but there's a load more shit teams in it. I said, that's not very nice. And I said, but it's true. The standard obviously drops if you've got the top 48 teams instead of the top 32. Simple. Japan's first game is the Netherlands, which is an absolute bloody cracker, actually. So we'll find out how good Japan are then. They play on Monday, I think it is. No, Sunday. Sunday at 9 o'clock. Netherlands against Japan. I'll be doing that one. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll look at the calendar. I mean, tonight's all right. It's one game, and then we're done. There's some days where it's like, fucking hell. There's a lot. People need to come with some good topics. Corner to South Africa here. He's gone short. They've messed this up. Headed out. Wow, I'd say what, it was a hell of a shot. He's about 40 yards out. Keeper dealt with it, but it was a good shot. Look at that. Anthony says the Azteca is the most iconic stadium in the Americas. Jack says blind men have more vision than the South African midfield. Dreadful long passes. Favourite crisps, Mark? I don't eat a lot of crisps anymore, but yeah, I do like. I used to always buy. Oh no, keeper's going to get there. This is the longest two-leg game. The first leg was in South Africa in 2010, and the return leg today in Mexico, says Fern. Well, we'll see how many minutes get added on. I don't think they're going to do any stupid, big added time, but we haven't seen it on the clock yet. Four minutes added on. I do fear that for South Africa, though, in the second half, at this altitude, height, it will become quite draining in the second half for them. Sorry, I'd lost the live chat there. Ridiculous England not hosted since 66. Should be only past winners can host a corruption and being able to buy the privilege. Says it's me. I just think we're not. It's a bit like the Eurovision. We're just not very well liked. So I just don't think we'd ever win a process of getting enough votes. And the process is dodgy, isn't it? You do need the votes. I don't think Argentina are going to win the group. Austria is going to knock them off. I like Austria, Baltier. I think Rangnick's a fantastic coach, and I think they've got some really good players, Austria. The problem is they don't have an abundance of players. They're not spoilt for choice. Anthony says, I've been saying for years, Man United need another Mexican in the squad. Yeah, there needs to be a new wave of Mexican footballers who are really good. Maybe this Mora will be it. I'm hoping he's going to come on in the second half because both my players to watch are on the bench. One for South Africa, who's 21, and then the 17-year-old for Mexico called Mora. If you move that quick enough, you're in here, Mexico. Might get a chance for half-time. It's a lovely ball. Gutierrez. Oh, what was that? He absolutely messed that up. Carved them open. Connor says, be honest, how many brand deals did you turn down to go to the World Cup? I'm not at the World Cup. Hamza says, are you doing Czech Republic, Korea? I will tell you at half time. Just kept that in. I think it's going to be half time. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. We are on the road to 1.5 million. I think we can hit it during the World Cup, which would be a great achievement for the channel and the community. If you are new, please do subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, click and subscribe. We're doing a lot of games, a lot of reactions, and you are very, very welcome, as always. And we are at half time. Let me stop the clock. So, look, story of the half. Mexico definitely been the better side. South Africa have struggled, but to be honest with you, if I was South African, I would be not too unhappy with that, in the sense that you're not losing by more than one goal. It could be better. It could be worse. But Mexico looked quite good for an opening game. And, sorry, let me get that out. There's definitely harder games to come. I think Czech Republic and South Korea will be tough first games for them. So, yeah, not a bad start by them. Let me just catch up on these super chats, and then I'm going to tell you what the schedule is. What are your thoughts on it, Mark? I'm loving it. I mean, we've done quite a few tournaments together on this channel. Anyway, we've done I think the first one we did was the World Cup in 2018. So this is our third World Cup, and I think we've done I think we've done 2 or 3 Euros as well. So I'm well used to international tournaments, and I do enjoy them. And look, my thought process is I'd rather be watching a load of competitive football in June than the alternative of pretending I like tennis and gardening. So bring it on. And I actually like the fact that the games are on at night, because it was a bit annoying with the games in Qatar being on at like 1 in the afternoon and stuff. So I'm very happy about it. What I think some of the stadiums are going to be brilliant. I think the weather is going to be sunny, which is what you want in a World Cup. And I'm getting an immense feeling of excitement and nostalgia away from the football. Like the Azteca is an incredible stadium, and I think we're going to see some incredible stadiums throughout this tournament. I think the weather will be good, and I thought the flow of the game was pretty good. I mean, I think the standard was a little bit lacking, but you'd expect that, and I think teams will get better as the tournament goes along. They've all been playing friendlies, not competitive games. But we saw a few chances in that game. It wasn't a cagey affair, was it? So I'm hopeful that we're gonna see plenty of goals as well. Do you think we've seen the last World Cup with a single host nation, says Kevin? Well, I think that I'd be very surprised. This is meant to be is it meant to be a is it an anniversary or something like that? This is meant to be a big World Cup because it's a one-off. I don't know what they're doing in the next World Cup in Portugal and Spain and Morocco. But again, it's being shared. So I would hazard a guess that that's a 48-team World Cup as well. So I think this is the way the World Cups are going to be now. Yeah. The Saudi one is the anniversary one. Yeah. So I don't think we'll see a single country hosting a World Cup again. If the United States can't do it, I don't think they can. I don't think they'll be able to. We're going to do the schedule in a minute, Liam. Alex says, as a South African, the reality is we were never going to come close in this game, but if we hadn't made the mistake, we would still be level. Let us know. Plenty of South Africans watch this channel and watch the United stand, so let us know your thoughts. I mean, it was always going to be a bit of a mountain to climb. Funnily enough, there's a mountain on my TV now. Especially against Mexico, in front of 80,000 fans. It was always going to be a difficult game. As Culture says, it's been surprisingly entertaining. Mexico not yet put it to bed. The truth is that, yeah, I think Mexico have been the better side, but South Africa conceded a goal through their own stupidity. I tell you what, I have never seen a setup as good as that. That ITV setup is the dog's bollocks. I mean, it's almost as good as this background. It is incredible. Gary should have got his hair cut because his hair's going to get blown all over the place, whereas Roy Keane and Ian Wright, well, Ian Wright ain't got any. That is an incredible setup, isn't it? It really is. But Gilberto Mora, remember the name. Fern, you're not having that. I'm going to argue that on our way. You're not claiming him. I'm going to do this Bundesliga style. If you ever watched our Bundesliga watch-alongs, I'd always give you a few interesting facts and players to watch. And I'm going to do it in the World Cup for every game as well. And I said, Mofokeng for South Africa is on the bench, 21, is one to watch. And Mora for Mexico is one to watch. I also said, Lira, the number 6 for Mexico, is a good player. And the number 4 for South Africa. But this is where they go wrong, look. Playing out from the back to Sithole. So the ball goes to Sithole, no jokes, and he makes a right mess of it. So Sithole makes a mess of it, playing out from the back, and then it's 1-0 to Mexico. Cue all the jokes in the chat. Viva Mexico and Man United, says Matthias. It'd be great if this Mora ended up being a good player, wouldn't it? Because, you know, Mexico haven't really had a superstar player for quite a while. Should never have expanded the tournament. Would rather Mexico versus Korea, says Irish Ryan. And thank you very much for that. Ate Your Chip says, this might be one of the worst performances I've seen from South Africa. What an embarrassing half. So many informed players not chosen due to favouritism, and it shows. Hopefully you're more fun than I am, says Ate Your Chips. Well, no, thank you for the insight. I mean, I don't know. Most Mexican players play in the Mexican League, and most South African players play in the South African League. So in a way, this is what a World Cup's all about, isn't it? You learn about players that you'd never normally see because you don't see them in the Premier League or the Champions League or the Europa League. But I didn't know that decent players had been left out. Sithol's having a stinker, says TBH. Yeah. And Kiro says South Africa qualified at the top of their group. Well, this is what I mean. I'm not going to have this disrespect of South Africa when you consider that they've qualified for the World Cup, which is not easy from the African nations. And also they've qualified for the last 2 AFCONs. So they can't be terrible. I just think it's a really tough game. I think England would struggle against Mexico in that stadium at that altitude as an opener. I think it's a tough game. You know, teams are going to get caught cold. Be very interesting to see what Canada do in their game and the USA do in their game. I think they'll be very interesting games. Just having a little bit of a stretch here. You'll see plenty of... Don't do that. You'll see plenty of this in the World Cup, especially in the early hours. I'm going to have a flask of coffee. Night nurse. I'm like a pendulum. You can't see my legs. If I do it properly, you can't see my legs. Oh, God. Yeah, what's your plans, everybody? How are you going to do it? What games are you going to watch? Now, let me talk you through the weekend. Some people have been saying, what are we doing? And I like the word we, because we are in it together. So, we're halfway through this game. 1-0 between South Africa and Mexico. Mexico leading 1-0 at half-time. There is another game tonight, or in the early hours. South Korea, game 2 in Group A, play Czech Republic at 3 a.m. I am not doing that. It's just not worth it. I am not doing 3 a.m. South Korea against Czech Republic. I will get up in the morning, I will see what happened, and I will leave it to that. So I'm not doing the 3 a.m. But I'll tell you what the next game is. South Korea against Czech Republic at 3 a.m. Fair play. Soldiers who are going to stay up and watch that, or if it's a good time for you where you live, fair play. We're not doing that here. We're back for game 3, which is Canada against Bosnia tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So we'll be doing that one. And then there is our first early hour game, which is game 4, United States, Paraguay, 2 a.m. I am doing that one. So we're not doing South Korea, Czech Republic at 3 a.m. tonight. We are doing 8 p.m. tomorrow night between Canada and Bosnia. And then we're doing United States against Paraguay at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. Then on Saturday, we're doing Brazil against Morocco at 11 o'clock at night. And then we're doing Haiti against Scotland at 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. games in a row coming up. Then on Sunday, we're not doing Australia against Turkey at 5 a.m. I mean, fair play if you are. 5 a.m. I ain't doing that. Germany, Curacao at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Yes. Netherlands, Japan, 9 p.m. on Sunday. Yes. And then Ivory Coast, Ecuador at midnight. Yes. So 3 in a row on Sunday. Sweden against Tunisia, 3 a.m. on Sunday. No. And then on Monday, Spain, Cape Verde at 5 o'clock. Yes. Belgium, Egypt, 8 o'clock. Yes. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, 11 p.m. Yes. Iran, New Zealand, 2 a.m. No. So that's our run of games for the next few days. We'll keep you updated every show, but that is what we are doing. Our next watch along is Canada tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and then USA, Paraguay at 2 a.m. tomorrow. Not tomorrow, the day after, but you know what I mean, tomorrow night. So yeah, get involved. Make sure you subscribe. Very excited. It's a long tournament, and we want to hear from you about how you're going to get through it. Are you skiving off from work? Are you going into work tired? Are you jobless? You don't have to tell us why. We won't judge you. Well, we might job you. We won't get you a job. We might judge you. You know, if you're somebody who's just can't be bothered to work and you send your other half to work while you sit at home doing nothing, I mean, we might judge you. But you can do that. It's not against the rules. You can do it. How are we doing on our... Well, first of all, thank you very much to BOYLE Sports for sponsoring this stream. They will be sponsoring some of our streams across the World Cup, so thank you very much to them. At half-time, let's check in on my bet builder. So, need a few more goals to go in the second half, to be fair. But at this altitude, I did read another article that Mexico are going to look to kill teams in the last half an hour, because that's when they'll get tired. So don't be surprised if the game starts to open up in the last half an hour because of the altitude and how tired people get. So I've got Mexico to win in my bet builder, yes. Both teams to score. That looks hard at the moment because South Africa don't look like they'll score before Christmas. Over 3.5 goals in the game, I think that can happen. Raul Jimenez to score, I think that can happen. Over 4.5 corners, I feel like it's already happened. Let me just double check, but I do feel like that has happened already. Stats, corners. No, we've only had 3, so I need another 2, which again Should happen. Yeah, it can work. It can work. Let us know if you've got any of yours going on. And to the BOYLE Sport Statos, testing your football knowledge during this tournament, I've already set you 2 questions. So who scored the first goal when they played each other in the World Cup opener in 2010 in South Africa? Remember, these 2 teams played each other in South Africa as the opener in 2010. The goal scorer was South Africa's Sithole Shabalala. Hopefully I pronounced that right, my South African friends. South Africa actually topped their qualifying groups to reach their first World Cup since 2010, but they nearly threw it away. Why did FIFA initially strip them of a qualifying victory against Lesotho? I actually know the answer to that because I've done my research. So South Africa nearly did get kicked out of the World Cup for something they did against Lesotho. Do you know what they did? Let us know. We'll give the answer at full time. Remember, with BOYLE Sports, you can do your bet builders. They've also got this offer where if you put £20 on a team to win it, every game they win in the World Cup, you get a £5 free bet back. Check that out. Link in the description. 18 plus only. New UK and Ireland customers. Terms and conditions are in the description and on the screen. Please bet responsibly. Be gamble aware. Thank you, everybody. Okay, right. Let's have a look what everyone's saying in the chat. Mark, you should get beers from each country and drink them while the team plays. I'd rather just have one beer sponsor. I mean, if Jeremy Clarkson's watching, I'd love to have your beer and promote it and get paid to do it. That would be great. Saturday Premier League games start at 5 a.m. here in Canada, but 3 a.m. is just terrible, says Bran. Yeah, I think look, it's half time. I genuinely want to know how many games you're planning to watch as a percentage and how you're planning to watch the early hour games, because I've got a mate. Actually, I've got more than one mate. I've got a mate who is planning to watch every single game, and I said, why? You know, if you say that, you know, if you live till you're 90 and all your grandkids and everyone sat there and you went, in 2026, I watched every World Cup game. They're going to go, why? But then a few of you are saying 100%. Some people do it as a badge of honour. I figured it out. I'm going to do about... How many games are there? 104. So it's literally basically 100%, isn't it? I think I'll end up watching about 85. I figured it out. I'll definitely watch 85 and I could end up watching 90. So I'm going to be somewhere between 85 and 90%. There's some I'm definitely not watching, like I'm not watching Iran, New Zealand, but it only adds up to about 10 to 15 games I'm not going to do. So I'm going to do about 85% of them. So 85% of it, we will be live here. Make sure you subscribe. But the players wrap second half. The biggest problem is, look, I totally respect all the fans around the world that watch the Premier League and have to watch games at ridiculous times. A lot of people saying about 60%. The biggest problem game is the ones that put me off the most are the 3 o'clocks and the 5 o'clocks, because you can't. I find it impossible to stay up till 5 o'clock. I also find it impossible to go to bed and then get up at 5 o'clock. 2 o'clock games, midnight games, absolutely fine. I'll just stay up, play computer games, do a bit of work, watch a film, piece of piss. You get tired during the game, but it's easy to stay up till 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, anything after 2 o'clock, if it hasn't started, I find it really difficult to stay up that time. I haven't missed your super chat, Ty. I've just not caught up on them yet. I'll do it now. We're up and running for the second half. They're in again, playing out from the back. What the hell are they doing? Literally, first minute here. And a shot over the bar from Gutierrez for Mexico, but playing out from the back again. Look at it. Literally, the keeper's done it again. I tell you what, South Africa, you need to have a word with your coach. You cannot be doing stuff like that in 2026. Playing out from the back. Saturday, done that one. Thank you very much, Bran. South Africa, the boys are intimidated, says Bong. No Chucky on the team. Santi, Edson Alvarez, George Sanchez, Vega on the bench, and we're looking firm, says Anthony. Yeah, Edson Alvarez of West Ham, very good player. Used to be at Ajax. He's on the bench. Zuta. 2 or 3 subs changed the game. Mafenkeng and Apolis, says Mola. Yeah, he is a player to watch out for, Mafenkeng. Honestly, we South Africans have too much expectations of the team, says Alex. It's Mexico in Mexico City. In 60 years, Mexico have only lost twice there. And that's a stat. Mora to Dortmund after the tournament, says Fern. Is that happening? I'm really hoping he's going to come on this second half. Jackie says, my husband is having open heart surgery tomorrow. Could anyone in the chat who wants to send positive energy to Cornwall, thanks. Well, we don't know his name, Jackie, but we can say thoughts and positive thoughts and good luck to Jackie's husband. Spartans says that it's pronounced Sithole, and South African players all play at altitude as well. It's 500 meters lower than Mexico. Well, there you go then. They should be fine. What United need is a Mexican in a boardroom, says BB8. And Gene says, I'm not taking a shower until after the World Cup. I can't miss any games. I'll do it in your honour. You still have time to have a bloody shower. My plan for the later games is a flask of coffee. Yeah. You got to keep the energy up. Lim says 2002 was the dream. Was a student and feasted on football from waking until the evening. Shame it was during my finals. Should have got a better degree. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the kickoff times for the 2002 World Cup. And I shouldn't have to think about it because I can just search it. Kickoff times World Cup 2002. So, oh no, it's not put the times. I definitely remember playing. Oh, he's in 1-on-1. Is he giving a? He's going to send him off. He's going to send him off. It's going to be a red card. Yeah, red card. South Africa, ball over the top. I don't think there can be many complaints. I'm just waiting to see the replay. Ball over the top. I mean, South Africa, forget the last half an hour looking tired. They looked tired in the first 10 minutes here of the second half. A ball over the top. He's definitely onside. I think it's Gutierrez. And to be honest with you, I really think the defender there has not got a leg to stand on. A little bit like Gutierrez, who gets tripped up. Yeah, the attack has been really clever, running in front of the defender. I mean, I don't really know what the defender's meant to do. I do have some sympathy with him. So we've got our first red card in the World Cup. Not the first time we've had a red card in the opening game. We all remember Italia 90. Cameroon had 2 people sent off. But it ain't looking good for South Africa now. They didn't look like they were going to score anyway. And I'm going to run a poll. Should it have been a red card? A few people are saying it shouldn't. You know what? I think it is a red card. It's Sithole who's been sent off as well. He's had an absolute stinker. Some people are seeing shithole. I think it was very clever by the attacker and the defender was a little bit naive. I think he's just got to let him run through and take the shot. I always say that. As a coach, let them take the shot. They might score, they might miss, but you keep 11 people on the pitch. Jimenez into the wall. Gutierrez. And a terrible shot. This could turn into a battering here. Get this 17-year-old now. Get him on the pitch. I was just reading something now. I just wanted to double check it before I say it because you don't want to say something wrong. Obviously, we've spoken about the camera quality of this World Cup so far because we've watched a couple of England friendlies from the States. They've both been on ITV. This is an ITV. It's not actually to do with the cameras they have in Mexico and the United States. It's because ITV don't have Ultra HD. So I don't think this is in HD. I think it's done in just standard, isn't it? What a sit show, says Al Badger. I've heard United are interested in Sithole. And Hamza says, I've currently got exams next week. I'm planning to watch 98% of the games. The only ones I can't watch are the 1 p.m. games on weekends because I've got to work, says Hamza. Well, I'm very impressed by people who are going to watch over 90% of the games because you'll be watching more than me. I'm going to mark off every game I don't do and subtract it from 104. Well, this will be a recurring theme. Sithole left them in a shithole, says Koala. Where are the Vuvuzelas? They've left them in South Africa. Thank you very much for that. Someone just said something about a shower. Oh no, that was Jean. She's not having a shower. Or Jean could be a boys' game as well. Jean Kelly. Gene Hackman. Rest in peace. Nearly 13,000 watching for this opening game. Thank you everybody who is tuning in. We're doing most World Cup games here, so if you want company, our first early hours game is the 2 a.m. game between USA and Paraguay tomorrow night. So tune in for that. It'd be nice. South Africa are attacking here. They're 1-0 down and they're a man down. But by God, they're not lying down. And why would they? That would be ridiculous. Imagine if every South African player just suddenly lied down and said, we're tired. Well, they're not giving in. The player that we need to keep... Why are you doing a USA match, Watchalong? Well, as I said, I'm going to do 90% of the games anyway. But I also... really do think in a World Cup you've got to try and get behind the host nations because it just makes it... Oh, good shot. Straight at the keeper. South Africa there. I think you want the host nations to do well. I've always felt that... I said the same about South Africa in 2010. I think if the host stays in the tournament, it makes for a better tournament. But also, I'm interested to see how the United States do with Pochettino. I thought they were quite good in the Qatar World Cup. Moose has not been selected, has he? He's fell off. He doesn't deserve to be going. He has fell off. Substitution here. I think they're taking off Lyle Foster and bringing on a defender, Mbata. Yes, the player that we're looking out for here to come on. Well, there's two really. South African players are probably not going to come on now. Mofokeng, number 10 for them. He's 21. He's an interesting player, but it's number 19, Mora of Mexico. He's only 17. He's meant to be the next big thing. I'm hoping he gets on sooner rather than later. But it will take a lot for South Africa to get back into this game. And it's going to take a lot for South Africa to get out of this group, considering they've got Czech Republic and South Korea to come. All of those games are going to be very difficult for them. And Mexico have got another free kick here. Let's see what happens here. Thanks for your super chats, by the way. I think I've caught up on those. Do you think Mexico can win it? No. I think Mexico could go the furthest out of all the hosts. Who do you think is going to go the furthest? USA, Canada or Mexico? I think Mexico could go the furthest because I don't think there'll be much between the three. And I think Mexico have more of a home advantage. Let's see what happens with this corner, says True Gent. How well does England need to perform for Tuchel to get knighted like Southgate, says Andrew? He's probably got to win it. Probably got to win it. Gilberto Mora to come on this half, says Fern. He just signed a 3-year contract with Club Tuana. Probably expecting him to break out. Well, I tell you what, if he's a talented player, coming on against a tired 10 men for half an hour could be a little bit... He could be the Baggio of the tournament. Italia 90, host nation, Italy. The clue's in Italia. Baggio, I think he scored against Austria off the bench. That was his breakout tournament. Good cross into the box. Oh, just overhit. Mexico player on the back post. Scalacci. He's dead now. I said that a little bit bluntly, didn't I? I mean, I meant it in a sad way. Toto Scalacci. I think he is anyway. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. What a World Cup he had. I can't remember who he played for. It was like he wasn't when the World Cup happened in Italia 90. He wasn't playing for one of the big Italian clubs. I know he ended up playing for Juventus, but he was. Someone in the chat will know, but yeah, he just Palermo apparently. Yeah, Rob Dobson's just said what? I'm pretty sure Scalacci died quite recently. Not like this morning, but I think in the last couple of years. Jeffrey says it's ended before it even started from a South African fan. Well, yes and no. I think that South Korea and Czech Republic will be difficult games. They might not be as hard as Mexico in the Azteca. Money says, do you think Rio should be playing this World Cup? I understand both sides. I understand the fact that he's a youngster and he's not yet established in the Liverpool team. On the other hand, I think he's a player that you just could cameo for the last 15 minutes. The reason we see live broadcasts here is that Look Vintage is related to frame rates. They are 29.97 in the US and 25 here. The conversion distorts it, says Nick P. There you go. There's technicality for you. It does give a vintage look. What's your opinion on Mexican fans saying they can beat England easily, says Juzzy? I mean, I get it. I think we'd be playing them in the Azteca, funnily enough, at 1 a.m. if they top the group and we top the group. I think that's what would happen. So I wouldn't say England would beat Mexico easily. And, you know, some people are very, very confident. 74% of you said it was a red card, by the way. Fairs. There's another foul here. Oh, I thought he was coming on then. I thought he was bringing him on. He's not. I thought he was bringing Mora on. What was for dinner, Mark? I had fantastic homemade fajitas, which is, I think they're Mexican actually, aren't they? Aren't fajitas Mexican? Well, and I didn't even do that on purpose. Maybe the wife did. I didn't decide, but maybe she's switched on. I didn't. We did have fajitas for not for Christmas, for dinner. They were very nice. Next game at 3 a.m. Yeah, you've got to wait 5 hours for the next game, and it's 3 a.m. I'm not doing that one. And my next game, our next game, is 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Canada against Bosnia, and then 2 a.m. USA Paraguay. And I'm thinking of doing a Q&A on my channel at 1 a.m. Just a general lifestyle Q&A. A bit like a live going with Goldbridge. So I'll do the Bosnia-Canada game at 8 o'clock. And then at 1 a.m. I'll go live on my channel for 40 minutes doing a live going for Goldbridge. And then 2 a.m. USA, Paraguay. But it won't be football. It'll be like general stuff. Fern says, Mora is warming up, according to the Spanish commentator. And Stephen says, this is for everybody, if you could take one player from another nation to strengthen England, who would you take? Well, I definitely think we could improve our goalkeeper. But would that be what I would do? I mean, part of me thinks people like Hakimi at right back, but we have got Reece James. I think about Mendes at left back, and I don't mind O'Reilly. Centre backs, I don't mind Gahey, Konza and Stones. Midfield, we're good. Rice, Bellingham, Anderson, Mainu, Rodgers. Kane, we've got one of the best strikers in the world. I mean, England have got a very balanced team. So I think I'd probably say someone like Elise or Yamal. I think I'd go for a world-class winger. Mora's coming on. Here we go. It's Mora time. This guy is meant to be it. Number 19. He's only 17. Let's see what he can do. This is the player to watch. And he's on. The next 25 minutes. Let's see what he can do. I mean, I can't bloody see. The camera's so crap quality. It's really... And the grass is green as well. There he is. He's over there. He's on the ball. He wins a tackle. See what he can do. Apparently he's a Football Manager legend. Mora, he's only 17. He's meant to be like the next big thing. So we'll see. Goal! There it is. There it is. Raul Jimenez. 2-0. Mexico. Cross came in. He's got a lot of growing to do, hasn't he? Not Raul Jimenez, Mora. And it's Raul Jimenez who has the goal. I did have him to score him a bet builder. But the one that's going to stop me winning it is going to be both teams to score. He's very... Look how happy he is as well. Hint of offside, but it clearly isn't. Look how deep he starts from. Oh, actually, look at the timing of the run is perfection. Cross comes in, onside, goal. You know why he's crying? I've just figured it out. It's scoring a goal in the Azteca for Mexico in the World Cup, isn't it? Not many people will be able to say that. It's raining, Mark. I know. I don't know what's going on here. We shouldn't be having rain in Mexico. Well, we have got rain. It's only 23 degrees. It's heavy rain next week. Thought Mexico was hot. Albert, drinks break. Albert says, fajitas are Tex-Mex, Mark, but close enough. Thank you, Albert. Altitude would be tough for England in the Azteca, says Tony. Thank you very much for that as well. It probably is game over with 2 minutes to go. Could you say that they're out already? No. Yeah, ITV aren't doing ads for the water break. We didn't have one. Ad break says understandable. I mean, water break while it's raining. Yeah, you don't need that. '95 Trace says, it rains every afternoon in the summer in Mexico City. I've never been to Mexico, so I can't verify whether that's true or not. I do feel like the game's gone very quickly, though. And referee, I'd tell you what, I was literally watching the referee. I'm going to love this in the Premier League next season. I'm going to fucking love this in the Premier League next season. I almost want to, I know it's only game one, but I want to stand up and applaud this World Cup. I've just seen something that is going to change the Premier League next season. I bloody love it. The ball goes out for a throw-in. As soon as they pick it up, which is quick, the referee's going like this. This is going to game change it. That Brentford right back has just been made redundant. Shove your towel up your arse. This is going to be game changing. And hopefully they'll sort corners out as well. No more long bloody throw-ins. Yabba dabba do. It's the new 5-second rule for throw-ins is going to revolutionise football. And to be fair, the game has flowed a lot quicker as well. If England don't win, would you take Pep, says Vipple. Do you think Pep would do international football? Lovely play. Was that a little flick by Mora? Could have been a penalty there, not given. Now he's saying wait. Mate, I was watching the Premier League watch-alongs with you last season. How many times? I mean, Delo, I'll call my own club out. We'd get a standard throw-in, and Delo from right back would trot over, pick the ball up, have a little rub, point around, and then he'll chuck it in. Literally, some throw-ins, you're talking 40, 50 seconds. It's going to make, and if that happens 10 times a game, if every throw-in takes, on average, 30 seconds, and you have 20 of them a game, how many minutes is that? Ooh, that looked nasty. He's only given a yellow, but it did look bad. Looked a bit wild. I'd have to look at that again. Sabisi. Nah. It was all right. Yellow card's about right. South Africa have been poor. Mexico out at round of 16, says Cian. All right, no ill. BT says you missed both of my super chats. I don't think I did, mate. They're not showing up then. Stop doing them. Because I haven't missed anything. And it'd be very, very unlikely that I'd miss two. I feel like you in that one meme where you hid behind the chair. What an embarrassing introduction for what should be a very important match. What are you talking about, 80 chips? Don't know what you're about. Marge says, if Mexico wins the World Cup, I'll eat tacos for at least 2 days straight, maybe 3. Yeah, they're not going to win the World Cup. Oh, BT says, thoughts on FIFA's proposed bomb squad rule. Don't know what it is, BT. Eduardo says, Jimenez's father just passed away. He's very emotional. There we go. Being Ricky says South Africa are bad and they're not going to win anything. Yeah, our next watch along is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Canada. And then we're doing 2 a.m. early hours of Saturday morning, USA. Well, obviously the football is very important, but you know what I like about the World Cup? What's going on? How busy the crowd is, you know, the passion of the individual countries. I mean, I've got to be honest, I haven't seen many South Africans. I don't know, they've not really shown much of that. It will be very interesting to see how many games are well populated as well, because one thing about the 94 World Cup in the States, that was 32 years ago, 1994. And the MLS didn't exist. And they still had a hell of a lot of the capacity was really good, and some of the games were shit. James says, you never gave your thoughts on my offside rule with line being at the feet only. Thoughts? No, I just wouldn't complicate it. I think it's not as bad as Wenger's rule, which is thick. Wenger's one where you've got to have daylight to be offside. There's nothing wrong with the offside rule. It's fine. I think you just complicate it if you start doing anything else. Tickets have cost a lot for the World Cup, Mark. Thing is, there's a lot of corporate World Cup tickets going for free. Do you think Spurs could beat this South Africa team, says X-John? I think most Premier League teams would beat most national teams because they train together week in, week out. Look, I've always said about international football, don't ever compare it to domestic football because it's not domestic football. Domestic football, you play together week in, week out, twice a week, patterns of play, tactics. International football, it's like hobby football. It's very hard to drill familiarity and chemistry. How many teams do you think will score 0 goals, says Guardian? I mean, I don't want to see many 0-0s. I think, didn't Qatar? I feel like I feel like these sort of things are great trivia. Which, got capital letters on, caps lock on. Which World Cup had the most 0-0s? And guess what came up? Nils Nielsen. Absolute rubbish. The record for the most 0-0 draws in a single tournament is 7, which is jointly shared by 5 different tournaments. Qatar, Brazil, South Africa, Germany and Spain. But of course, there's a chance this tournament will break all records, good and bad. Because the more games you play, the more chances you get 0-0s. Can you tell us where everybody's playing? South Korea, Czech Republic, 3 a.m. is in Estadio Guadalajara, which is well, it's obviously Mexico. 44,000 capacity. And USA. Sorry, Canada will be in Toronto. Pretty sure about that. I'm hearing it's Qatar from South Africa, says Eugen. All right, Rio. I'm in America and we just had an ad break on the 70th minute. I'm done with this country and I'm moving to Europe soon. Shahin. We had something in the rugby this year in the UK where you've got your screen and it half splits and puts ads on. Which I don't mind that because you can still watch. You lose the audio though. But you shouldn't have the audio on anyway. You should have us on for audio and then the game on. I actually think most commentary teams are shit these days. I don't really think there's many good commentary teams. YouTube does the same thing. Yeah, YouTube does do the same thing because when I was doing BOYLE League, on the way home in the car, I wasn't driving, I'd watch the games I'd missed and whilst you're watching it, it would split. And I don't mind that advertising because I can see the advert and go, that's interesting, but I can also watch the game. I don't mind split screen advertising. Some people hate it. I don't mind it. Spain picked no Real Madrid players exactly so that it could be a team, and I think they will win it because of it. Team over personalities, says Sion. And Viper says City's second bid for Anderson just got rejected. Oh, we've got a VAR moment going on here. Mark is our commentator, says MJD. Hold on, I didn't. Could be another red. VAR check. Didn't see what it was. Someone's grabbing somebody's head. God, I don't. He does hit him, but that angle's a bit. I mean, the Mexican player does foul him, but could be another red. Can't be a penalty, Robbie, because it's not in the box. I think he might get a red. He does. Yeah, well, is it a slap? I think he's going to give a red. Oh, he's got to talk now. Look at that stadium. I mean, the guy's about to get sent off in a World Cup, and I'm going, look at the stadium, but it's incredible. Kevin says, what the fuck, that's not a red. He definitely threw hands, but it wasn't a punch. Was this one a red? Let me know in the poll. I think it's their best player as well. Yeah, he's giving it. He's giving it. Oh, it's not who I thought it was. I think it's a bit harsh when they're already down to 10 men, opening day of the World Cup. I think it's a bit harsh, really, but he does slap down on his face, but he'd probably be thinking I may as well have punched him now. Well, is this the first? It's got to be. First time, opening game, 2 red cards since Cameroon in 1990. The commentator's going to say that any second now. Supernova says not a red, clear yellow. I think they could have given him a yellow. Mark, my Swedish broadcaster didn't show Shakira's performance. Can you please play-by-play describe it for me? I didn't see it, Marge. Didn't see it. I was doing the United Stand. What's your favourite brand of tea? Says Charmer. I don't mind a Yorkshire tea bag. Actually, not everyone's in for it, but I don't mind that. Is it a sellout here? Oh, come on. It's Mexico, mate, in the World Cup. And Mexico are playing. 100%. Nev says, maybe a little too old for me, but would have taken Raul Jimenez for Man United at some point. How about Santiago Jimenez? I hope you're doing well, Nev. I think you're down under, aren't you? Pretty sure you are. If I've got that wrong, sorry. Santiago Jimenez scored a lot of goals for Feyenoord. He's on the bench. I don't know when he's come on yet. But he hasn't done very well at AC Milan for whatever reason. Raul Jimenez, at one point, I think could have been a striker for Man United, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Can't be getting tired at 10 to 10. Tomorrow night, we're doing a match at 2 a.m. He had an ankle problem, apparently. Well, it's 50-50 on the red card. Yes, 51%, and no, 49%. The referees killed the game. I think Mexico were going to win this game anyway. Good play by Mora. Yeah, I think Mexico were going to win the game anyway, but it's killed any chance South Africa have had of doing anything with 9 men. And they're frustrated. Thoughts on Chicharito at Man United? We loved him, Manny. We love Chicharito. Is a red a 3-match ban? I don't know whether it's a 1-match ban or it'd be violent conduct. Yeah, his World Cup's over, I suppose. You'd be so annoyed with that, wouldn't you? Jay says Netherlands, Japan on Sunday will be good. Yeah, looking forward to it. Ed says the fact that 50% of the votes think it's a red is tragic. A lot of people in the chat saying it should be a red. Surprised Mexico haven't bought Santiago Munez on, says LGX. Second yellow red is 1, direct red 3. Well, in that case, both South African players, their World Cup is over. Which is horrible, isn't it, really? You go all that way and then you're not going to play again. Uzar said, would Michael Oliver give that red card? But you also get a lot of this in a major tournament as well. I like the throw-in rule. It's brilliant, and the game has flowed very quickly. I mean, I feel like this game, whilst it's not been the best game of football, I feel like it's gone quickly. I mean, we're nearly in the 90th minute, and we've had 2 drinks breaks. I think it's been a quick game, but the directive on the referees sometimes in these tournaments can be to give red cards. There seems to be a problem with UEFA, the Premier League, FIFA, where they think giving red cards makes the game better. It factually makes it worse. Caro says this game sums up the entire World Cup. Rubbish. So Caro has written the whole World Cup off, 104 games, and they've written it off after 1. I mean, you must be great fun at parties. You know, turns up to the church first. This is the shittest wedding ever. Well, I want to say I'm loving the World Cup so far. Visually, it's what a World Cup should be. Bright, colourful, nostalgic. And we've had all that in abundance. I think the football will get better and better because every team is going to be nervous first game. There's not going to be a lack of rhythm. You cannot build rhythm in these friendlies they've all been playing as well. This is competitive football now. Look at that stadium. Incredible. I'm just disappointed that it's only being used 5 times. I think it's just an incredible football stadium. Getting emotional. The ITV channel layout looks good. Yeah. Seven minutes added on. That's probably because of the red cards. The whole of South Africa want the manager's head on a chopping block. He left the league champions on the bench to field guys we've never heard of, says Saint Blanco. Well, we'll have to take the explanation of people who actually know. I don't know enough about the South African national team or the Mexican national team to know whether better players have been left on the bench, but We haven't seen enough of Mora on the ball. South Africa. Oh, now then. Is it a yellow or is it a red? I think it's a yellow. That's never a red. That's never a red. Oh my God. There's no way that's a red. He's not the last man. That's Montes. He's a very important player. He's not last. That is not, for me, I need to see it again. That's never a red card. He's not the last man. You know what? He might be the last man. I didn't look like he was the last man. I think on replay I might retract. He was definitely going to get a shot off. I think it might be a red, that. He's an important player for them, Montes, as well. God, we've had 3 red cards here. Was that... All right, I'm going to ask you now. Was that a penalty? Was that a red card for Mexico? Was that a red card? Get your answers in the poll. Over 13,000 watching. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, as always. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Well, there is a chance here for South Africa to get at least 1 back. See what happens. Oh, they've messed that up. What a terrible free kick by South Africa. Absolutely shocking. What the hell was that? Shock, absolutely shit free kick. Really was terrible. God. Well, at least they got a man sent off. You need to put the ball in the back of the net. Is this the first time we've had 3 red cards in an opening game in a World Cup? I feel like it's not, but it probably is. Ref thinks he's in a bull ring. Rick. Don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm saying, says Fabregas. And sad Africa, if the Mexican team was made up, they would have sent them home, says Z. I think the second red is really soft, but as a Czech, I'm not going to complain. However, Sithole is not playing. Is probably an advantage to South Africa, says Peter. The throw-in rule and the ref mics are great additions, says Marge. Chev says we might see a lot of red cards in this World Cup. Yeah, I think we might do, mate. I think you might be right. You might be right. Well, I've enjoyed it. I don't care what the critics say. Thanks everyone who subscribed, by the way. We've hit 481,000. We're on the road to 1.5 million, which we could hit during the World Cup. Remember, we're live for a lot of games. This is the place to be for World Cup chat, community, and watch-alongs. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Doesn't matter who you support, where you live in the world. You're very welcome to be part of this community. And make sure you subscribe. But no, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, look, it's had a bit of drama. It's not as much good football as I would want. You know, I want to see good football. But we've had drama. We've had an incredible stadium and visuals in that sense. Things can only get better. But it's not been 0-0, has it? I don't want to see many 0-0s. I want to see goals. Definitely. Colourful World Cup with red card confetti, says Rob. Exactly. 3 red cards. This World Cup is going to be a diver's dream, says Sawboss. To be fair, 2 of them... It's not... You know what? I don't even think it's a FIFA directive. I think that 3 cards in an opening game is wild. But when you look at it, 2 of them for last man fouls, which technically is correct, whether they're harsh or not, and 1 of them for violent conduct, which, again, technically is correct. I don't think they would have all been red cards in the Prem, but technically they are all correct. You know, if you hit someone in the head, it's a red. If you take them down as a last man, it's the red. So, bit like a Sunday League game. What are you going to do now, Mark? Well, I'm not watching Czech Republic against bloody South Korea at 3 a.m, so I'll give that one a skip. Our next watch-along is 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Then I'm going to do the 2 a.m. USA-Paraguay game, so that's going to be our first early morning game. We're watching 3 of the first 4. And yeah, that's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. Shout out to BOYLE Sports, by the way. Thank you very much for sponsoring the stream. Links in the description for that. Our very first match of the tournament and the end of the show. So I need to give you the answer to the second question I asked you, just for fun. South Africa topped their qualifying group to reach the World Cup, but they nearly threw it away. Why did FIFA initially strip them of a qualifying victory against Lesotho? It was because they accidentally fielded midfielder Taboa Makona while he was suspended. So they got in trouble for that. Don't forget, with BOYLE Sports, if you place an outright bet on a World Cup winner or more of £20 or euros or more throughout the tournament, every time your chosen team wins a match, you get a free £5 or pounds or euros bet into your account. So basically, if you predict that England are going to win the World Cup and you bet £20 or more, every game they win in the World Cup, you get a £5 free bet back. So if they win all their qualifiers and the quarterfinals, all the way through the quarterfinals, you'd have £25 in free bets for a £20 bet. Links in the description. Check that out. I'll tell you what, I've only just noticed that. Can we just go back to that? I absolutely should have done this as well. Thank you to BOYLE Sports. You can scan the QR code or go to the link in the description. But shout out to the kits. They look great, don't they? They've been going past me for like 2 hours. These World Cup kits are looking nice. Mexico, South Africa. I'm liking that. I'm liking the trim. I'm liking the trims. Very, very good. Very, very good. But biggest shout out of all to this amazing community. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Azteca football is something that you know what? Don't glaze over that. We've just watched the World Cup game in the Azteca. I know we weren't there, but that doesn't happen very often, and it's only going to happen 4 more times. So don't sleep on that. That was an incredible opener to a World Cup in an incredibly historic stadium. So I love that. Atmosphere was very good. Do you think there'll be a lot of reds, says Just Pasty? Let's wait and see. On the officials, obviously there's new rules. I really enjoyed the 5-second rule. I think the game felt more like a Bundesliga game than a Premier League game. It felt like it flowed really quickly. So the referee did get the game flowing. I wonder if, because the ball was in play more, does that lead to more mistakes and more incidents? You know, if the ball's in play more things will happen maybe. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I think the red cards technically were correct, if not a little bit soft. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited to be watching this World Cup with you. United Stand's back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. There was a show tonight, if you've not seen that, it was very good, on the United Stand channel. We were a little bit early because of this. And then World Cup watch-alongs, 2 more tomorrow. And loads over the weekend. In fact, let me just remind you, over the weekend, we are only not doing South Korea, Czech Republic. We are doing Canada, Bosnia. We are doing Brazil, Morocco. We are doing United States, Paraguay. We're not doing Qatar, Switzerland. We are doing Haiti, Scotland. We're not doing Australia, Turkey. We are doing Germany, Curacao. We are doing Netherlands, Japan. And we are doing Ivory Coast, Ecuador. So we're doing the vast majority over this weekend. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Can you appeal a red card at the World Cups? Yeah, you can. You can. I don't think they'll get anywhere with it. Do you feel Irish and Welsh should root for UK teams, says Han? No. And I don't think they will. I don't think they would. Sawboss says 3 red cards this World Cup is a diver's dream. There we go. A blind man and a deaf man have more tactical cohesion with each other than the whole South African team, says Jack. Doesn't seem very happy. Sad Africa, if the Mexican team... I've done that one from Z. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'm not doing a match reaction. We'll do those for the England games and the preview for those as well. So, Mexico top the group, South African bottom of the group. I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care.